Good evening. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. And although this is Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform, we had technical difficulties yesterday. So I had the opportunity of being able to stream again today. Sorry about the blurry background, guys. But there were just a couple of things that I have an outline I would like to discuss today. But as usual, I would like to give a moment of silence for all our brothers and sisters that have fallen, all the sick and suffering, and all of those that keep coming back. So let's just give them a moment of silence, please. So again, welcome to Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform. Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where you can come and talk about maniacal stories that CPS has caused you, whether it's based on bias, corruption, or just your overall experience of being dismissed, not acknowledged and not given proper resources. So with that being said, every month I'd like to, give what the outline is for the month. And this month is Child Awareness Month, where children that have been abused, whether it be sexual, physical, verbal, emotional, whether there have been fatalities with these children, whether in CPS custody or in a foster home, whether there have been prior histories with parents, you know for some reason CPS must be under the assumption that as parents that we don't get tired. We jump through hoops for these people. We jump through hoops, we bend over backwards. And at the end of the day, our fight is infinite for our children. We are fighting for our innocence. Innocence is worth it every time. So if you need a consultation, reach out to the law offices of Attorney Vincent Davis. The number is listed below. You can reach out to the producer, Grace Losen, or you can reach out to me at KK Richardson on Facebook to set up a time or a day where you can tell your maniacal story. So, based on me getting some information that may be, resourceful to, many New Yorkers that may have CPS problems, I only have this information for New York because I was given, it was given to me by a New York liaison. And if Grace could post in the background, possibly, it's the New York City ADA Victim Advocates line. And the contact person's name is Brianna England. She could be reached at 718-250-3312. And the reason why, I have given that resource as a support for any families that may have any problems, such as housing, domestic violence, CPS issues and bias, parent advocacy support, pantry and food issues, job searches, and so on and so forth. There are various things that this office provides for our parents that may not have known. And please take, the opportunity and having this valuable information, assigned or, available to you. Don't take it as, just put it in one ear and out the other. There are resources out there for us parents to deal with the the corruptional walk of deception that we have to endure based on the longevity of our case, or however long they decide they want to, I guess, determine our level of competence and safety. So I just want to say, when I speak about Manic Mondays with Miss K, I speak about it for different things. One, the week has just begun. It's everything is maniacal. And because I am bipolar, they always say we're manic or we suffer with, hypo and hypermania. The definition of mania is an erratic type of behavior, something that is not done on the regular, or something that is, sporadically done or spontaneous, without any thought of safety, regard for, possible casualties, or people that may, be in this insanity that we may be dealing with. And then you have mental illness as a whole. And although mental awareness month was last month, children also suffer with mental illness, parents. There is no shame in allowing your children to be supported, or have, the resources they need to, to have a therapeutic outlet, or to release whatever, trauma or abuse has been suppressed. That is a big problem in the urban demographic. I mean, therapeutic service is shunned upon, labels are shunned upon, and, based on cycles of trauma or abuse that continue, based on secrets that are not heard or that keep being put under the rug, it allows the cycle of trauma and abuse and just overall betrayal to continue. And I am a product of that. I don't use any of my downfalls as a reason to play the victim or to point fingers. I take full responsibility in every case, every interaction that I may have with CPS or DCFS or ACS or whatever acronym it may be in your state. And, at the end of the day, I just want to speak on my experience of being diagnosed with a mental illness. Society already stigmatizes parents based on labels, whether it be a criminal background, you have a substance abuse history, if there's mental health anywhere, if you have domestic violence, if you have children that may have special needs, or, medical conditions that cause you to pay, extra attention, or require, you know, alternative services where different agencies or people come into the home to offer supportive services to assist you with these special children. And don't get me wrong, every child is special. Every child is perfect in their own way. I tell you guys all the time, innocence is worth it. Keep the fight. The fight is infinite. So as far as, with myself, I feel like based on labels, we as parents don't get, we don't get a fair chance. We are basically guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. And although CPS is supposed to provide resources for either reunification, family strengthening, or, family integration where there may have been some type of abuse or trauma, or, separation, to where there is a tense relationship between parent and children. And I'm saying that, based on what I've seen and my personal experience, I always try to focus on the I, and I never try to pass the blame. And my honesty is my biggest downfall, but it's also my largest strength. And, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I say that to say this: parents, don't ever let anyone, let alone anyone from CPS, anyone, dictate your level of competence, knowledge, resources, or financial stability, especially if those policies and those programs or resources are outlined in their mission statement and they are not honoring those things. That is false advertisement. False advertisement, and failing to honor the duties of whatever job scope that person may entail, that may be having that interaction with you and your family based on either prior history or just ultimate betrayal from either friends, family members, those mandated reporters, and so on and so forth. You know, words words hurt. You know that saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. Words hurt. And kids can be cruel. to one another as well as to us parents. And when these children are allowed to have I want to say a gap in the relationship that they may have with the custodial or non-custodial parent, whether there is kinship involved or if it's just a regular foster parent. And see, my issue, I'm having a little bit of a problem with that. Although the foster parent that my children are with is known to me, she is not a relative. She is not a family friend. She is not conducive. And that's fine. And all of those things, are personal. But when it comes to legal procedure, orders being enforced, and written constitutional rights, parents like myself, we get biased against before we even get a chance to have a fair state, to state our fair. We don't have a fair chance to state what actually took place rather than what was written. And although Mr. Davis always says it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove, that's the truth. That's basically it in a nutshell. Although, again, on myself, keep it on the eye, although I have provided all of these proofs, such as my mental health diagnosis, my medical diagnosis, the prior cases that were, the children were removed and placed back with no supervision and no safety plan or parenting plan or any dispo outlined for, things that needed to be honored to meet, compliance or meet the goal of return to parent. These foster care agencies allow that time clock, the FAFSA time clock, the 15 out of the 22 months that your children may be in CPS custody. They can change any goal from what it is to adoption. And although it doesn't have to go that route, it doesn't seem to change back. It doesn't seem, it's like a needle in a haystack. It happens once in a blue moon. And if you have a history or prior cases with a certain agency or certain case planners or social workers, these people hold grudges and they are petty and they have a lot of childish ways and a lot of deceit and deception and corruption that flows through that agency as though it was showing you how osmosis is produced, how things flow on a constant. And the fact that a lot of these social workers leave out discovery, they leave out exculpatory evidence, they alter documents, which is evidence tampering. They use a lot of hearsay. And when things are done under malice or deception or any type of corruption or coercion, like Mr. Davis said, they are not covered under qualified immunity in any state in the United States, to my knowledge, because I have done my research. Based on Mr. Davis having so much faith in me, it gives me motivation to be even more proactive than I already am, because he believed in me. And like I said, it only takes one voice to make a difference. So from someone on a whole nother coast, Mr. Davis, Grace, Miss G, Betty Joe, Bob, like these people that speak about the things that have put them in a place of financial instability, emotional breakdown, psychological exhaustion, and physical exertion. You cannot possibly tell me these parents are not exhausted. And because Mr. Davis is the person that he is, and he is so blunt and so honest and straight to the point, he's going to give it to you like it is. You have no other choice but to accept it. put your big boy undies on and move forward and take that advice, whether it be legal or for coping skills in life. Because Mr. Davis is not just an attorney, he is the attorney. He is the man. Without him, I may not even be sitting here talking to you guys today, and that's real. Because to have faith across the coast, to have him acknowledge me as somebody that could pass a message of personal experience that could actually help other families or other states, other countries, other provinces. You guys don't realize Mr. Davis, yes, although it's financially feasible and compensatory, it's not always about the money with him. Because if you guys come on his office hours or if you join his school, and that's SKOOL, you guys will see there is so much information at your fingertips that can assist you on this corruptive walk with ACS, with CPS, to a point where you can make yourself knowledgeable and well informed. And like he always says as well, ignorance is no excuse for lack of knowledge. So parents, stop saying, I don't know. Stop saying, I can't. They didn't help me. We have to help ourselves. Because like I tell my children, well, like I've been telling them, because I haven't seen my children since April 23rd of last year, you know, and it hurts, but I'm trying to stay strong because I don't have that privilege to break down because I'm the only one fighting for my innocence. My innocence, my children's innocence, and my little humans mean everything to me. My fight is infinite and it will never stop until the last breath that I take. And that is just as transparent as I can be. And, when Miss Brianna reached out to me yesterday to ask me if I needed some assistance, it is hurtful that the people that are supposed to know you and know, what type of person you are, what type of parent you are, what type of role you play, whether it be in the community, in other children's lives, in your family dynamic, in higher, statures or higher places where there are assemblies where you may be part of a chain of command, where you may hold a title that is important. I am Miss KK of Jordan's Jungle Gym. We provide all community activities for our children in our community and then some. We do mini carnivals, we do Easter egg hunts, we do, I want to say, the Winter Wonderland where we give away gifts, we do the backpack giveaway, we do Halloween parties. And although, my family may not know who I am, my community knows who I am. And I am grateful that the children here know who Miss KK is. Level of parenting I may possess, or the amount of erratic behavior they alleged I may be displaying at the time. I may be displaying that erratic behavior based on me waiting 7, 8 months for something that could have been done in 2 days. And that's where, again, that FAFSA timeline comes in. They want to run out that clock to get you to a point where you want to just give up and walk away. Parents, don't give up. Don't ever give up. The fight is exhausting. I mean, it is overly like suffocating. But again, until that last breath is taken, our little humans are perfect. And again, the fight is infinite. So, when people are diagnosed, whether they're labeled or just, display the symptoms of whatever mental illness may be, associated with those symptoms, depending on, highs and lows, you don't get to penalize me for actually using insight and addressing the issues I have to prevent future unhealthy or unsafe situations. And there are no bad ways to parent. There are only unsafe ways to parent. Again, no culture is the same, no ethnicity is the same, no race is the same. And when labels come in, such as, mental illness, substance abuse history, or substance abuse activity, or medical issues, or any other underlying issue that may pose a problem on a document in bold. Because honestly, they look for the same words on every CPS case: abuse, neglect, remand, danger, substantial danger, and imminent risk. Those words are always on any motion, petition, affidavit, or writ in bold. I know in New York City, at least. I'm not too sure about California, but I could ask Mr. Davis about that. But, most of the laws in California are similar to the ones in New York, with the exception of the recording laws. And again, I want to let y'all parents know, in the state of New York, for all of you parents that did not know, you do not have to disclose any secret recording of anyone in any agency unless it is outlined in their policy, and they must show you where on that phone call at that exact time, according to policy for New York City and their recording laws. So based on only one person having to be knowledgeable of the recording, that would be the person initiating the phone call, i.e. me. So if I'm recording CPS, I don't have to tell them I'm recording them. And that is not outlined in the New York State policy. Just for y'all that didn't know that. You do not have to tell any social worker, foster care worker, any worker in the Commissioner for Children's Services, the Parent Support Advocacy Line, any attorney that is not represented by you or you're not represented by, or any family member that poses a threat to reunification. Because that's what I'm dealing with right now. Although me and my mother have a, I want to say strained, toxic, misunderstood relationship, I know if my children were placed with her, I would still be able to have access. And based on the foster care agency telling me my children have been in the foster home for too long, they don't feel that a transfer placement or an ICPC, or I should say an emergency ICPC, because to my knowledge, it's supposed to be done within 30 days. An emergency ICPC is a 30-day process. But these social workers, they drag their ass still. And excuse me for saying that, but it is what it is. So when I asked for that, which was July 1st, at a family, a team family safety conference, where there were 16 people present, plus my 12-year-old, I invited my maternal sister, and she invited my mother. And it's crazy that, well, Betty just informed me in the state of Montana, it's 48 hours for an emergency ICPC, but in New York City, it's 30 days. Thanks, BJ. But at the end of the day, I didn't really want to dwell on it, but based on my medical issue resurfacing. I don't know if it was because of the stress, but my cancer has returned. So although, he may have a final say up top, the man up top, I just hope and pray that every bit of energy that I am putting toward my fight of innocence is hopefully able to be celebrated when the victory comes, whether positive or negative. Because I am up for TPR July 17th, and that is a termination of parental rights based on the time clock, the federal guideline of the FAFSA time clock, and because I have had no communication with the children for over a year, and they don't want to see me or want to have anything to do with me. And I really think that is like really effed up, because for an agency that is supposed to provide these reunification resources and supports, but based on whatever president may be on the bill that they may have been collecting federally, the funding stifles the best interest of the child, the reunification process, and the communication and access we as the offending parents may have. I know that for a fact, one, as an attorney, and two, because I've experienced it on more than one occasion. And although I've had the same judge, this is the first time where I've requested a change of venue and I was denied. I feel like this judge has personal bias based on this being my fourth case. And because I just had a case that ran from, I think it was November of 2019, all the way until July 8th of 2022, based on my child being assaulted, and in a very negative way. I mean, assault in any way is negative, but based on that, type of assault, I went to CPS for help. These people removed my children from me that day and pointed the finger at me and stated to me that based on my substance abuse history, was I intoxicated at this time of abuse? Did I use impaired judgment based on me being diagnosed with mental illnesses? More than one. So if these people are judging you based on labels that society has, you know, outlined you with, but you are honoring your treatment plan, you are using insight to minimize the triggers, and you're utilizing your coping skills to, reduce the level of, I want to say, erratic behavior or impulsive decisions. And you definitely have learned something out of it, because Mr. Davis also says that. What is the point of taking, classes or being in a program if you just do it to do it? Because honestly, I'm gonna be real honest, like I always am. I never really did a program for me. I did it because that was what I was told to do. But based on the last 814 days, and I've been in therapeutic service for mental health way longer, from the time I was like 13 or 14. So I've never really been out of service. So for these people to remove my children into the custody of the commissioner based on hearsay that was not even confirmed, clarified, investigated, or proven to be true, for 813 days, my children have been severed from me, ripped from my womb as though I was carrying them all over again. My kids are my motivation every day through this terminal illness. And again, I don't use it as a crutch. I don't try to gain sympathy about it. Again, I put my big girl undies on and I get to the get straightforward and get to the checklist. What do I need to do now? Boom, 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 boom. And although parents, when we complete services and CPS still negates to give us our children, I don't think the amount of psychological warfare that's imposed or the mental and physical restraint that we restrict ourselves from, I don't think the words match the actions. And as a parent that constantly, even to today, I'm experiencing that in and out, in my home and out of my home. And parents, let me express something to you. Based on me having a history of DV, we get biased against that too. Because we as victims of DV, we get beat up, embarrassed, we become ashamed or I want to say introverted because we don't want anybody to be able to have anything else to say about us, because it's like, damn, you already dealt with this. They heard this. You got people in the peanut gallery saying this, and then you have those extras. You know how they have on movies extras? The people that just happen to be walking by in the street, get 500 or 600 just to be a walker. That's basically how I feel with the situation now. My ex-husband started all of this based on me not wanting to be involved, based on me being sick and allowing him to come to my home to be a possible resource for the children. But no, again, no paternity established, no standing was given. You have a full order protection in a state, a Commonwealth state, that order is not subsequent to family court because it is interstately not connected. You have to stop with the insults. One, because of the knowledge I retain, and two, because of the degree I own. I possess. It is very hurtful and triggering as a person that suffers with mental illness that these people are allowed to trigger us and cause either destabilizations of our disability or manifestations of our disability. And then they're quick to point the finger like, oh my gosh, you see, we knew that was going to happen. How many times do you think you can poke a bear before they maul you? Honestly, again, we get tired, but does not mean our, I want to say, lethargicness. Us being lethargic does not put a ceasefire on the fight we are going to have for our innocence. And I really think, as a person that is in the urban demographic, is from, is indigenous, is indigent. And although, I am financially, stable and I have a foundation to where I'm not one paycheck away from being homeless, but I'm not flourishing the way I should be, because it's very hard for me to maintain motivation when they took the thing that mattered to me the most, that kept the fight infinite. And I'm not saying I'm going to give up. And I did feel like that a couple of days, that I wanted to just cut my losses. But I'm a mom. I'm a mom 25/8. When I'm sick, when I have a lupus flare up, after I come from radiation and chemo, if I get sepsis in my port, whether I've had sleep or not, whether my children are in my home or not, I am a mom, first and foremost. being anything else is optional because that's all I know how to be. And, I didn't want to get emotional. I didn't want to make it all about me. But y'all parents, I don't know if anybody has seen Tyler Perry's movie Straw on Netflix. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. And Mr. Davis, if I'm not, I'm sorry, but I want to say that to say this. When there is a catchphrase, like, how other actors have catchphrases, when somebody is frustrated and, they're going through, mental decline or psychosis or just being overwhelmed based on these people not doing their freaking job, we're going to call it pulling a Taraji. Because that mom was under so much stress, she got beat down to the point where she made her own reality. Her child died. And because all she did was live for her child, she didn't know anything else. So she kept moving forward as though the child was still there. These are the things that CPS does not realize. And no, just because a parent may be venting does not mean a parent is suicidal, does not mean a parent is in crisis. You have to listen to people when they speak. And a lot of the times, if these social workers, case planners, and people that sit in seats of authority or, in a superior stature that are supposed to make things definite based on title and job scope, you have to be mindful. If you push a parent too far and they snap, what is the explanation to the child if that actually takes a parent over the deep end? Because I'm really trying to understand, how can you explain to a child in CPS custody or in a foster home that was supposed to be returned to their parent, whether mom or dad, that they can no longer do that? And you cause the parent to be so unheard, so unimportant, so dismissed, so silenced. Sometimes we as parents feel like, if nobody hears us, why are we here? And I'm not saying that, it's okay to, take yourself out. It's never okay. It is a sin, regardless of what religion you follow or what spirituality you're into. Everybody has a higher power. But I say that to say this. Y'all, CPS, ACS, DCFS, social workers, case planners, and just overall foul employed kidnappers or human traffickers, as Miss G would say. Y'all are stealing our children for financial gain, plain and simple, whether county to county, state to state, province to province, continent to continent, or country to country. Everything is about greenbacks. And I just, it hurts my heart, like, to the point of putting me in a fetal position, because the amount of pain that we endure as parents when you guys take everything that keeps us breathing, focused, for myself, sober, mentally in the right state of mind, using adequate judgment, Based on my substance abuse history and mental health alone, and then when you add the physical ailments with the medical issue, pain causes erratic behavior, impaired judgment, possible crisis ideations, whether auditory or hallucinatory. You guys have to understand, if you guys as agencies that don't do your job cause parents to not be able to do their job, what are we here for? To just be in the way, waiting around like a dog waiting for master to come home, jumping and waiting to nibble at your heels for you to tell us what to do next. Who the hell wants to live life like that? You impede on any type of happiness, movements, vacations, possible happy times, because you put us on I want to say, yeah, you put us on a restriction of time, but we're supposed to spend time with our children in order to mend the toxicity that these agencies have caused. And honestly, guys, it's not just agencies. It's people in your inner circle too. Because I don't know if anybody's ever said it, but if you don't have peace in your castle, you can never go out there and fight along the front line. If your sanity in your safe place is being, I want to say, ruffled or attacked, you cannot possibly think being inside the castle where this is my safe place to gather my thoughts, to try to come up with a positive game plan, to go out there and fight these people on the front line. You cannot possibly tell me anybody could love another person, let alone our innocence, when they too cause unsafe situations based on emotional tantrums. When people throw temper tantrums in a place that you're trying to keep safe and in the best interest of your child, when you bring unnecessary dangers or unnecessary risks based on emotional instability with no diagnosis, it's sad, because I've always said people seem to penalize me using my children because that's the only thing that makes me jump. But for all of y'all out there, parents, guess what? Orange is the new black. Keep that in your mind. Just remember, innocence is worth every fight, every sentence, and every action. So remain positive, remain hands off. I say that for myself because I have to put that in the universe to make it real. Keep it legal, keep it lawful. Make sure you parents know your rights. Know your rights for your state. Knowledge is power, guys. We cannot be beaten. This right here is our year, parents. 2025. Mark my words, because Miss K is going to make change. Because it only takes one voice to be recognized for a movement to start. And like they said in New Jack City, this is bigger than Nino Brown. This is bigger than Nino Brown. Mr. Davis and every person that has a platform with him has motivated me to continue to fight for innocence because it is infinite. It is worth it. It is our duty and it will never stop. It will never stop until my dying breath. So parents, just know we have resources out there. Again, we have Brianna Ford of, I'm sorry, of the Victim Advocates Center at 350 J Street in downtown Brooklyn for you New Yorkers that are in the tri-state area. They have resources on. Also, I didn't get a chance. They have immigration. So if you have any immigration issues, because they try to screw us over with that too. They try to detain us. They try to say we don't have sponsorship, residency, DACA, whatever the case, asylum, whatever. Don't let them tell y'all a bunch of crap. Know your rights. Because at the end of the day, everybody's an immigrant. Nobody came here willingly. We were all brought here, one way or another. And because Mr. Davis is of mixed race, he understands the ins and outs of this. And although he has mentored me from a distance, I am grateful to have met that man, whether it was electronically, because I'm definitely going to make my way to California to meet Mr. Davis personally. I would love to shake that man's hand. He is amazing. He is amazing, and he is a force to be reckoned with. Y'all have no idea. A lot of parents are still breathing because he is who he is. And I'm sorry for saying it too, he takes no shit. Nobody's. Not even you, Miss G. That's a side jab. Just joking. But at the end of the day, without Mr. Davis, Miss Georgette, Cynthia, Bob Pace, Betty Joe, even though she's not on the platform, she has co-hosted with me. That's my sister from another mother in Montana. Grace, our producer, she's amazing. And if I forgot, Mike Bartz, Darren Guai, Deidre Payne, everybody that, Latrika Jones, everybody that has a platform with Mr. Davis knew that innocence was worth the infinite fight. You guys have no idea how much hell I've been through this year based on strokes, possible psychotic breaks, or psychological warfare trigger me to a point of not being broken, but I'm bending. But just to meet other people in other states, other countries, other provinces, other continents. Corruption is everywhere, guys. It's not just us. We have to stick together and form a movement. Parents, they cannot keep doing this to us. Stand firm. Don't let nobody stop you from getting your little human home. Nobody. As long as you remain respectful, non-physical, legal, and you enforce every parental, educational, medical, therapeutic, constitutional, and parental right any state, continent, province, or country has to offer. Plain and simple, point blank. I cannot get no clearer. And again, for y'all people that have not seen Tyler Perry's Straw, that's basically the straw that broke the camel's back, or this is the last straw. Once you see that movie, one, Tyler Perry outdid himself. Two, that message definitely needed to be conveyed, especially in the urban and minority communities. And it is real life. It happens every day, everywhere. So I mean, I only have like one or two more things to talk about. As far as like my personal comparison, I've had a few guests on my show so far, and I've only been streaming for 6 months. But I would like people to know, please call so you can be a guest. Tell your maniacal story. Get your message out there. Parents, united we stand. United we stand. We have to build on everything as a unit to move forward with power. We have to move like drumline. One song, one band. The fight is worth it. Innocence is worth it. You know, you cannot deal with outside problems again if your inside tranquility in your safe place is being ruffled. So anybody in your safe place that is not wishing you well, that is causing you unnecessary stress or psychological, medical, or mental decline, give them the boot. Like a clearance sale, everything must go. Do not allow anyone, whether they love you, whether they're part of your case planning team, whether they're family, whether they're a partner, nobody gets to sabotage getting your innocence home, especially when they cannot do the same thing for their innocence somewhere else. And I'm not pointing the finger, I'm stating fact. And I'm keeping it on the me, on the I. I'm tired of people putting themselves in my peace, ruffling my feathers when boundaries are crossed, and not exiting stage left in a timely fashion. I will no longer allow any abuse to humble me to fight for my kids, because that is what started the whole thing. Me being humble. Because had I been the aggressor I was before, this would have never happened, or it wouldn't have taken this long. So because people assume when you are dealing with those issues and you have to walk on eggshells, they too like to break you down or kick you while you're down, like beating a dog. So I'm going to say this, and it's probably not the right platform, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you don't have a lease, a key, a reason, or a delivery, don't look for me, because Miss K is fighting for her innocence. It is infinite, Mr. Davis, and my new adopted family that I chose, because DNA does not make you family, loyalty does. And I've gotten more loyalty from Mr. Davis and any of his platforms with the people that he chose. And it is an honor that he chose me. So again, I probably have like 5 or 6 minutes, but as usual, I have conveyed my message. If you need a CPS consult or any other consult, Mr. Davis is licensed in different types of law, but he specializes in CPS, civil rights cases. So reach out to Mr. Vincent Davis. The number is listed below. If you need resources in the state of New York, you can reach out to Brianna England at 718-250-3312 between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And even if you're across the coast, you can also reach out to Ms. Ford. She may be able to provide you with information or give you resources in your state. Like, there are some good people out there that actually do their job, that are actually human, that actually care, and that actually help. And at the end of the day, I want to give a shout out to my sister from another mother, BJ, Miss Betty Joe. We met on Mr. Davis's we met on Bob Pace's show on Mr. Davis's platform as well. And we have been inseparable. Her loyalty from Montana all the way here is genuine. I have never met anybody so honest, trustworthy, and as transparent as myself. We like chocolate and vanilla. She's my Caucasian persuasion, and that's the best way I can describe her. She has given me nothing but respect, advice, taken my advice, trusted what advice I've given her, and we talk every day. That is my sister from another mother, and I have adopted her with all the love as though we came from the same womb. So, again, I want to thank everybody that has participated with me on this journey. I want to especially give a special thanks to the man of the hour, Attorney Vincent Davis. He is amazing. He fights and takes no shit. Straight up. So, Mr. Davis, you rock. So, again, guys, we are here. Even though it's Tuesday, I will be here next week, same time, different day. I will be on Mondays at 8 o'clock with Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform. You guys have a safe and blessed night. And remember, parents, innocence is worth it. Keep the fight going. Grace.